So today I want to talk around a little bit of a concept around our self-talk. So when we think about goal setting or we think about the challenges that we have coming up or things that we want to do, it's quite easy for us to get into sort of negative self-talk patterns or start to think about what could get in the way that could cause us to fail. And if we don't achieve what we want, then we kind of consider that a failure. So in my past, I've done a number of things that I've I've aimed for. So an example would be I've got a race coming up early next year where I want to try and cover 1,000 miles. If I can't cover 1,000 miles, then that could be seen as a failure. Okay, so it'd be very easy to sort of understand not getting there as being a failure to obtain my goal. And a lot of the self-talk leading into it will actually be around what could cause me to fail on that task. So a lot of it could be around what if a blizzard comes in and it stops me or stops my progress for 3 to 5 days? Is that going to take me past the time limit? What if I encounter overflow and I fall into it? I get really wet, start to get a lot of frostbite, and I'm forced into withdrawal just because of the environment or the exposure to such extreme environmental conditions. What if I get attacked by a moose and I suffer an injury and I can't make it? What if I physically don't have the capacity to get there? What if my feet break down? There's all sorts of negative self-talk things or self-talk patterns that I can get into. We'll start looking at different scenarios or situations that would cause me to fail on this path. And it's very, very easy to allow these thoughts to actually cause you to fail to turn up in the first place. So a lot of your effort can actually be in getting through this negative self-talk. That's the anticipation before you actually get underway or you get started in or on the path to a challenge that you want to do. So what if we reframed the way we thought about that self-talk? So what if we thought, okay, so I think about if I fall into overflow and I'm going to get frozen and I'm going to have to withdraw from the race. What if I thought that never eventuated, so that negative thought failed to happen? What if I thought about, what if a blizzard happened, that never happened, and then I considered that as a failure of that thought to happen? So what if we change the way that we thought about things, and rather than looking at failure in regard to what we're actively pursuing happening, what if we compared that to the amount of negative thoughts that we have that fail to ever actually manifest into anything? Because if you balance your positive thoughts out against your negative thoughts, and how many of your negative thoughts actually fail to materialize compared to how many of your positive thoughts that you actually achieve, you would find that the majority of what you spend your time thinking about never happens, and these negative thoughts never actually materialize to anything, and there's a failure of those thoughts to manifest into anything meaningful. So we spend a lot of our time worrying about things that are never going to happen, but we never really think about those things as failing to happen. So what if we changed the way we looked at those thoughts and started to be a little bit more rational about it, started to understand when we're thinking in terms of a negative concern that's never going to happen, rationalize that, think this is never going to happen, that will fail to materialize, it's never going to get in my way. Because if we went the other way and thought, what if there is no blizzard? What if I make it? What if there is no overflow? What if I have a really clean run through to Nome? What if there's no moose on the trail? I'm not concerned about that. What if there's no wolves out there? What if there's none of this, none of that? Then we would find that most of those thoughts would actually happen. They would come true, because what we think of as positive is much more likely to actually happen than what we think of as negative. But unfortunately, as we're more aligned to these negative thoughts. So what if we changed the way that we did it? So what if we changed the way that we thought about these things and started to think about, there's a failure of my negative thoughts to materialize. Most of them never happen, so I don't need to worry about it. Most of my positive thoughts actually will happen, so that's what I'm going to focus my attention on. So just a little bit of a different concept to think about the way that you think and start to understand how your negative thoughts are getting in your way, but it's just thoughts. It's something that's probably never going to happen. And if you changed to start thinking what ifs for positives, then you'd find that most of them would actually happen, most of them would materialize, and you'll start to be a little bit more rational in the way that you think. So just a little bit of a different way to think about negative thoughts. Try and clear them out of your planning. Try and clear them out of getting in your way to get what you want to get done. So once you can get past that, you'll find that you'll be able to get on your path a lot quicker. You'll be able to overcome certain things, and you'll be much better prepared, and you'll find that you'll have much better mental strength and resilience as you go forward. So I hope that helps. Hope that's sort of something that's fairly simple to understand, a different sort of concept, a different way to thinking about things, but something that will certainly serve you really well as you go forward.